Happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, but once again, as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Tonight is Monday, July 29th, 2019. This is episode 337 of The Daily Dope. Do want to mention, yes, I am still under the weather with this damn con crud that I picked up at San Diego Comic-Con. It has kind of left my sinuses. It's still there a little bit, but now it's all in my chest, and I hate when this happens, because you watch, I will be hacking throughout the show. In fact, I feel like doing one right now. So, hopefully I'm going to finally shake this at some point. Plus, it's Gen Con week, so I'm gonna go to one convention with Comic-Con con crud. Hopefully I don't get like a double dose going on. Plus, I also still have that blood bruise thing on my face. That isn't going anywhere. That's starting to really irritate me from being dragged down at San Diego Comic-Con and doing a face plant. That was great. So, anyway, other than that, things are good. Ray, right? So, what else could go wrong? Everything's fine. So, do want to mention, this is a live stream. So, if you are watching live, there is chat available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I kind of keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. But I do pay attention to the chat. So, if you'd like to just say howdy, or maybe you have a question, or there's something about Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, which is a massively large box here, which I'm going to be unboxing and taking a first look at tonight. There's something about Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea you'd like to get a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will respond. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you subscribe, be sure to ring that little bell, because not only will that let you know when there's a new video uploaded, such as my review of Bushido and the Rising Rage expansion from Gray Fox Games, which will be up later on tonight, but it'll also tell you when the stream goes live, within about 5 minutes or so. And of course, tell a friend, tell 2 friends, tell 3 friends, help spread the word, because right now I do have my July contest coming to an end. It's gonna be close. So if you're interested in winning a copy of the core game of the Pathfinder adventure card game, this is the new edition that just came out this year. I have not only the core game, I have the Curse of the Crimson Throne adventure path. So that is the, let's flip it up, the right side up, Jeff. So we also have the first adventure path, plus I've also got the first wave of promo cards to give out. And I will be giving away a copy of that prize pack to a lucky subscriber if I hit 1,600 subscribers by August 5th. And I will announce the winner on the August 6th show, because I will be off on August 5th. I will be off a week from today, because I will be recuperating from Gen Con, I'll tell you that much. Plus, I like to take the Monday off after a convention so I can bang out some of the videos that I shot at the show as well. So I do have that prize pack to give away. That'll be at 1,600 subscribers. As of right now, I think we're 42 subscribers away. That's not too shabby. We're getting close. Of course, I have 3 prize packs I could give away, but I had already said that at 1,600, I'd give out 1 prize pack, At 1,800, I'd give out 2 prize packs. And at 2,000 subscribers, I'd give out 3 prize packs. But it does look like probably just a single prize pack is going to be handed out. Fingers crossed, if we get another 42 subscribers by August 5th. So that's something cool, right? Still pretty sweet. Anyway, before I jump into the tabletop gaming news of the day, I do want to say I watched The Boys. I kind of binge watched The Boys on Amazon Prime Friday and Saturday. Really enjoyed it. I really dug it. There were some twists that I did not see coming, which is unusual because a lot of times these sorts of shows, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, I see what's coming a mile away. This one, not so much. Although I have to point out, there were some moments to it that I thought, okay, you guys went over the line a little much there. I can see there's a couple of scenes in it that some people might say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not watching any more of this. But I really enjoyed it. I really did like it. And then yesterday, I spent about 8 hours running my kit-bashed fantasy role-playing game with my nephew Cameron, his girlfriend Lexi, and their other friend who was also named Cameron. Daniel couldn't make it, unfortunately. Daniel couldn't make it to the game. So we had a blast. They just had a rollicking good time. And I love it. I really dig it. I really dig that they never played any kind of, tabletop pen and paper role-playing games before this, and they are just having a hoot. So pretty cool. All right, so as I mentioned, tonight I do have some tabletop gaming news. I know there are folks out there who are not necessarily big fans of the tabletop gaming news. So if you want to skip ahead and you are watching this after the fact, if you're watching live, you can't skip ahead. But if you are watching after the fact, just take a look in the show notes below. There are timestamps and you can skip past. But my first news piece is about Cosmodrome Games. They are a Russian game company. They have an economic simulation that's up on Kickstarter right now. And I've got the dope on Smartphone Inc. In Smartphone Inc., you become a CEO of one of the largest smartphone producing companies in the time when smartphones were only beginning to conquer the world. Research technologies, develop your factory, build your worldwide office network, and outprice your competitors. Smartphone Inc. is an economic simulation Euro game. Over 5 rounds, players program their decisions about price, production, research, and expansion in order to earn more profits and become the most successful company in the world by earning more money than rivals. The game features a unique mechanism of planning, which combines patching mechanisms with bidding and action selection. Each of the rounds consists of 8 simple phases: planning, pricing, production, development, research, expansion, selling, and profits. At the end of 5 rounds, whoever has the most money is the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So there is a short Kickstarter video. It's a little less than 2 minutes. So let's kick back and take a closer look at Smartphone Inc.
Smartphone Inc. is an economic simulation Eurogame for 1 to 5 players with a unique and elegant planning mechanic from Cosmodrome Games. It contains a high-quality double-layer game board, improvements and goods tokens, patents, technologies, retailers, and user-friendly individual player components, including pads, screens, and organizers, with more than 200 plastic markers. Furthermore, it includes the Steve AI mode, which can be played one-on-one or in a game with up to 4 players. Back when smartphones were only beginning to conquer the market, it was your destiny to lead one of the most promising manufacturing corporations in the world. Analyze and research customer demand around the globe. Get out of your comfort zone and try to increase profits by setting up new offices in nearby regions. Improve your production and research innovative technologies. Fight for control over local markets. Find your own way to success. Become the producer of an elite high-tech product or a manufacturer of focused on the mass market. And don't forget to keep your plans secret if you want to win this race. Other companies want the same thing you do, to become the most successful and richest smartphone manufacturer of all time. Help us bring the second printing of Smartphone Inc. to life. Pledge now and take charge of a smartphone manufacturing corporation and try to turn it into the most powerful company in the world. And remember, resources are limited. Life is a trade-off.
Smartphone Inc. is for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in around 90 minutes. The project is already over 300% funded. You can reserve a copy of the game and all unlocked stretch goals for a $65 pledge through August 12th. Expected delivery, the turnaround's pretty quick on this. Expected delivery is February of 2020. I did see a preview of this at Origins at the Arcane Wonders exhibit area, and it looks like it could be pretty interesting, although I have to admit, you've got this really kind of cool artwork on the cover of the box, and then the components look, dare I say, a little bland? Okay, I get it's an economic simulation, but I would have thought there'd be a little more punch to it. So I see Dan from No Enemies Here has popped in, and yes, he's joking around that he saw me at WBC. No, I was not at WBC. Although I really shouldn't talk to Dan because I saw all over Twitter, Dan kept posting pictures of himself with Alexander, I should say, and Grant from No Enemies Here, and he kept talking about how they're his heroes and how when he grows up he wants to be like them. And here I thought I was Dan's hero, but I guess I was wrong. So anyway, just joking. So moving right along, Renegade Game Studios has revealed a new title that has a distinct Lovecraftian flavor, at least in my opinion. It's on the horizon. Here's the dope on Gates of Delirium. You have finally set out to find the truth. You've heard the rumors of ancient runes and the lost pages of a scattered tome that tell of ancient and evil monstrosities calling for their return. You've heard tales of those who came before you in this search, losing grip on their sanity as they grew nearer to the truth. As you press on, you can't help but notice that you feel less attached to reality yourself. I feel like that some days myself. Anyway, some days you lose track of time and can't account for hours of the day. The whispers of secret gates to another world are growing stronger, while no one knows who is building them. You have a dreadful hunch. Could you be the hidden architect of the Gates of Delirium? In Gates of Delirium, players will have a hand of split action cards, one side sane and the other insane. Every round, one player will decide if it is a sane or insane round, and all players must play that side of their cards. During sane rounds, players will be searching for maps and lost pages to a secret tome, while assigning investigators to help them in their cause. During insane rounds, players collect ancient runes and work to build gates to release the monstrosities that their sane selves have been trying so hard to understand and prevent. Earn the most victory points by the time the last monstrosity is released, and you will be the winner in Gates of Delirium. Gates of Delirium is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 30 to 45 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $45 when it arrives in October. I find it interesting that this is obviously a Lovecraftian Cthulhu mythos inspired. I'm not going to say it's necessarily going to be lifting right from the mythos, but it is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. There is no mention of H.P. Lovecraft in the sell sheet info. And I can kind of see why, because these days, if you mention Lovecraft, you bring some people running and you send other people running away. So Lead Magnet has popped in too. So Lead Magnet's in chat as well. So welcome aboard, Lead. Good to see you again. But this could be an interesting game. I kind of find it interesting. You got the sane and insane. So it's also the title of a Yes album, according to Dan. Gates of Delirium. That I did not know. I was never a big Yes fan. Gotta be honest. Just not my kind of music there. Little too boring. Just like I was never a big, never like a Leonard Skinner fan. I was never a what's another band that a lot of people took? Oh, Steely Dan. It's not a. I know Yes is not Steely Dan, but I mean it's another band that people are like, oh yeah, I love Steely Dan, and I'm like, man, that shit's just boring. So. Gotta tell you, when I was growing up, I was a punk rock kid. So anyway, let's move on to our next news piece. Luma Imports has a building card game that's got a twist. It's coming later this year, and I've got the dope on Welkin, or Wheelkin, I think it's Welkin. You're dreaming about evading in the islands to travel above the sky and further than the horizon? Be glad, as you now are a celestial construction manager, architect of the sky. Obviously, this is translated from another language, not that well. Collect animal and plant resources, assemble them, and add a little life spirit. Congratulations! You just built an island in the sky. The aim of the game is to win the most gold by crafting and selling these famous floating islands. Each turn, the players/architects can either select a new island creation contract, produce resources amongst the 5 existing types, or allocate these resources on their contracts to craft them. Players have limited spaces to store these contracts and resources, so they'll have to juggle with their production line to complete their objectives in an optimized manner. As soon as a contract is fulfilled, it is immediately sold, and its creator receives gold depending on the resources used for its creation. But their value isn't fixed and depends on the current market. Is it better to get one's rewards immediately? I like when that happens. Or to manipulate the resources' values for a greater reward later. Once there are no more contracts available, the game ends. The architect who amassed the most gold will get their place amongst the stars. Vulcan is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in around 30 minutes and will carry an MSRP of $34.95 when it arrives sometime in Q3. Must admit, I like the artwork. I think this is, if you take a look, it seems like the components are very, very brightly designed. The artwork has a lot of pop to it. Don't know about the gameplay though, but I can't say that this looks like a very visually interesting game. Free League Publishing is getting closer to a hard release date for the Alien role-playing game. Yes, I know there are a lot of people out there who are very curious about this core rulebook, and I've got the dope. Space is vast, dark, and not your friend. Gamma rays and neutrino bursts erupt from dying stars to cook you alive. Black holes tear you apart, and the void itself boils your blood and seizes your brain. Try to scream, and no one can hear you. Hold your breath, and you rupture your lungs. Space isn't as empty as you'd think either. Its frontiers are ever expanding. Rival governments wage a cold war of aggression while greedy corporations vie for valuable resources. Colonists reach for the stars and gamble with their lives. Each new world tamed is either feast or famine. There are things lurking in the shadows of every asteroid, things strange and different and deadly. The Alien tabletop role-playing game is a beautifully illustrated, full-color, hardcover book of 392 pages, both presenting the world of Alien in the year 2183 and a fast and effective rule set designed specifically to enhance the Alien experience. The game supports 2 distinct game modes, cinematic play and campaign play. Cinematic play is based on pre-made scenarios that emulate the dramatic arc of an Alien film. Designed to be played in a single session, this game mode emphasizes high stakes and fast and brutal play. You are not all expected to survive. The core rulebook contains one introductory cinematic scenario, Hope's Last Day. Campaign play is designed for longer, continuous play with the same cast of player characters over many game sessions, letting you explore the alien universe freely, sandbox style. The core rulebook contains random tables and other powerful tools to quickly create star systems, colonies, missions, encounters, and NPCs for your campaign. The rules of the game are based on the acclaimed Year Zero engine, used in award-winning games such as Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood, but adapted and further developed to fully support and enhance the core themes of alien, horror, and action in the cold darkness of space. There is a bit of a teaser trailer, So, kick back. This is another video that's a little less than 2 minutes long, but some cool artwork, although I'm a little surprised by the art style. But here, kick back, give this a watch. The Alien RPG will carry an MSRP of $49.95 when it arrives in December. 396-page hardcover book for $49.95. That's a pretty good deal. I think that's a pretty good deal in my opinion. So, one thing I'm a little up in the air on, and I know there have been people who are asking me if I'm going to be reviewing this. I have a pretty good relationship with Free League Publishing, although their PR contact I worked with all the time has left. So there's a new person I've been kind of dealing with who, honestly, I don't even really know their name. It's just like PR at Freya Lagan. So I am hoping to get an opportunity to check this out, share a page through, and of course a review to follow that. I'm a little up in the air though, because it's sort of like, okay, so you got cinematic, which is essentially an adventure, right? A pre-published adventure. And then they've got like the campaign, but it's made like the campaign is all supposed to be like sandbox, kind of make it up as you go. Why can't you have like adventures that make up a campaign? They've done it in Coriolis, so I don't know, kind of weird. This I think is going to be a little unusual. I really do think so. I don't think this is going to be kind of par for the course for Free League. And I really dig Free League. I have not run across anything I have disliked from Free League Publishing. So do want to point out that William McGinnis has popped into chat. I'm still a little under the weather, so my memory's probably not clicking as well as it should be, but I believe this might be William's first time joining us for a live show. So welcome aboard. Good to have you. All right, my final news piece is from Ronin Publishing, because they've got a new release in their Fantasy Age line. It's available in PDF, and I've got the dope on the Campaign Builder's Guide. Build worlds of high adventure. Welcome to the Fantasy Age Campaign Builder's Guide, a book of advice, examples, and in-depth discussion of various elements of tabletop fantasy role-playing campaigns aimed specifically at Fantasy Age. Included within, you'll find in-depth analysis of campaign structure, setup, and play frameworks, step-by-step advice on designing challenging encounters and interesting adventures, monster and character design assistance to help GMs make convincing, compelling, and challenging adversaries and foils for their campaigns, information on designing religions and divinities, notes on taking your campaigns beyond ordinary power levels and into the realms of truly epic adventure. Modifying and adjusting your campaigns to embrace various fantasy subgenres such as fantasy horror, historical fantasy, or post-apocalyptic horror. Would that be in fantasy age, though? An assortment of helpful tables throughout the book to help generate everything from businesses and criminal organizations to cults and religions. Each chapter includes detailed examples of the advice and guidelines within, showing how to directly implement the tools and advice of the Campaign Builder's Guide. The Fantasy Age Campaign Builder's Guide requires the Fantasy Age Basic Rulebook. Figured that was coming, right? And users will find the Fantasy Age Companion and Fantasy Age Bestiary exceptionally useful when using the book. You can snag the 128-page tome for, ouch, $17.95 from Drive-Thru RPG. I've heard good things about Fantasy Age. I've heard good things about the Age system itself. I just find, maybe it's my imagination, but it seems as if we're seeing like an increase in pricing on PDFs lately. And usually I look at like, about $0.10 a page. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. When you start getting higher than that, I kind of am like, but it seems to be that's how things are going lately. And I get it. Everybody outside of Paizo and Wizards of the Coast are not like getting rich off their role-playing properties. So I do understand you got to make, money while you can. But yeah, sometimes like 128 pages for $17.95 just strikes me as being a little much, a little high. But like I said, Green Ronin does good stuff, so I'm not saying it's not going to be worth it. I'm just saying it feels a little pricey. Also, as I mentioned, that is at Drive-Thru RPG, and of course, the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope are affiliates of the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go to, say, Drive-Thru RPG or maybe even Wargame Vault, if you stop by thegaminggang.com first and click on one of our banners, Drive-Thru's up top, Wargame Vault's down on the bottom. If you happen to make a purchase afterwards, I get a little portion of that sale. And I got to be honest, that all adds up and it really does help out. And I will tremendously appreciate that too. So, I just wanted to point that out. All right, so I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea in just a couple moments. Do want to mention on tomorrow's show, I will be reviewing Aeon's End from Indie Boards and Cards. So this is the core game. This is the most recent edition as well. Also, I am doing my best. I think I can get it done. I am doing my best. And if I have to not have the gaming news tomorrow night, I'm going to have to do it because I want to have because I will be at Gen Con on August 1st. So when I'm at conventions, you normally don't see me posting videos and stuff because, for one, I'm at a hotel. And hotel Wi-Fi is never all that great for uploading. It's not necessarily always very great for downloading either, but upload speeds are usually terrible. But I do want to make sure that I share a page through and first look at the second edition Pathfinder core book. I have been reading this a little bit. I am liking what I see. Can't say that I would necessarily run Pathfinder. It's just at my age, it's just too rules crunchy for what I aim for. But I am liking some of the vibes from it. I got to point out, I'm not that far through it though. But I also want to do a first look and page through for the Bestiary. So they are under embargo until August 1st. So I'm going to do my best to shoot the videos tomorrow, probably morning, early afternoon. So don't be shocked if you show up tomorrow to see my review of Aeon's End and there's no gaming news. I got to jump pretty quickly into the review. So because Wednesday morning, I am leaving for Indianapolis. And it's about a 3.5-hour drive. I have to pick up my best friend, Elliot Miller, voiceofe.com, although he hasn't done anything for the site in a long time. And my nephew Cameron is also going to be going as a member of the gang, as a member of the press. So I do have to pick up Elliot first thing in the morning because he has a dentist appointment. Why he scheduled a dentist appointment the day we're leaving for Gen Con is beyond me. I think it might have been an emergency. And then heading down. So there will not be any show on Wednesday because I will already be in Indianapolis. So if anybody out there watching is at Gen Con and you happen to see me, do not hesitate to say hello. Don't be like Dan from No Enemies Here, who I heard at WBC, people were saying hi to him, and he was like, he doesn't talk to the little people out there. Not since he's got, all those subscribers on YouTube now. I think he's got more than I've got. And I've been doing this almost 10 years. That's what happens when you pay people. I can't afford to pay people to watch the show, but I'm just teasing Dan again, just making sure, because I know he's probably got to go soon. He usually gets about a half hour to watch the show, and he's usually got to go just when I start actually moving into the game unboxing or review or what have you. Anyway, moving right along. If you follow the Gaming Gang, if you watch the Daily Dope, if you check out videos on the Gaming Gang channel on YouTube, this is pretty much a not-for-profit endeavor. So if you like the website, if you like the show, if you like the channel, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Lil Bub's Big Fund does provide grant monies to special needs animals who are awaiting adoption. These animals might require daily medication. They might be long in the tooth like yours truly. They might have mobility issues or some sort of disease. They could be blind, they could be deaf. What have you, they still deserve to find loving homes. Just like Lil Bub herself has a multitude of bizarre genetic defects. Probably shouldn't have lived more than 6 months, if even that. And she just celebrated, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think it was her 7th or 8th birthday. So that was pretty sweet. So, as I like to say, if you like the Gaming Gang, if you like the Daily Dope, if you like the Gaming Gang channel, toss a couple of bucks towards Lil Bub's Big Fund and help animals in need. If you do that, you can shoot me an email. My email address is right there, jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com. Let me know. You don't have to prove it. Just tell me you made a donation, and I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out on the following show if you would like. Because people are like, no, I don't want to, I don't need you to say anything. I'm like, okay, fine. Don't get upset. I appreciate you making the donation, though. All right, so I am going to be taking a peek at Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea from Gamelyn Games. It's designed by Scott Ohms with artwork and graphic design provided by Chad Haverter, Adam P. MacGyver. Taking a guess, it's pronounced MacGyver. Ian Rosenthaler and Benjamin Schulman. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 2 to 3 hours. It does carry an MSRP of $100. This was out of print. The first print run sold out fast. I mean, it sold out fast. So this is the second print run. It is now available. You can pick this up. I do want to point out, I think I've seen it for about 85 from some online retailers if, saving a few bucks is super important to you. Let's move on over to the other screen. So we've got this right here. As I pointed out before, I don't have huge hands. I don't have tiny hands. I don't have POTUS hands, but I do not have huge hands. So this is a big box, and it's got a lot of heft to it. So this is probably probably about 7 pounds right here. And as you can see, the box is fairly deep as well. So let's get the shrink off, because some of the shrink's already torn a little bit. And I have been looking forward to checking this out. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I have heard mixed thoughts about this game. Some people really, really like it. Other people, I think it's like the combat system that they're not super, super keen on. So, that being said, I have not played it, so I am going to reserve my opinion until after I play this. So, let's pop the old reading specs on. I'll read a little bit off the back of the box here. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is a 4X-style board game that tells the epic tale of Ogmore's many conflicts. Orcs versus humans, dwarves versus elves, battling kingdoms, and the heroic individuals who turn the tides of war. Players control one of these 4 factions, competing to expand their small kingdom of a single warrior and 2 serfs into new territory. From there, players must explore the territory around them, expand their workforce, fortify their army, and build up their capital city, all through careful action selection, exploitation, war, and resource management. As players reach milestones through building, recruiting, or war, they gain access to many advantages and victory points. Achieving one of the 4 X objectives will end the game: explore, expand, exploit, or exterminate. So, Led Magnus says, horrible name. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea? Yeah, doesn't bother me. I don't know if it would necessarily have been my first option as far as naming it. Do want to say that there are expansions to this as well that do have additional factions that do bump up the player count. I do have one of the expansions, which we will take a look at after I get back from Gen Con. You know what? That box is kind of busting out some shadow there. So let me just move that right here. So we've got an overview of the different tokens and items. So we've got the map. Talking about the map here, action selections. So this is kind of looks like this is a bit of a, almost like a player aid. And we got the rulebook. Not real long as far as rules. What, maybe 20 pages? What we got? Yeah, 20 altogether. So we got 20 there. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to put together. Now, I do want to mention, let's take a look. Yep, these are okay. So we do have like these little stands to put like flying units on. And Michael Coe, who I consider a pal in the industry, right? I always interview him at all the various different conventions and that. We go way back. To back when I lived in Arizona, actually, and first started the gaming gang. But he had mentioned that they had an issue with some of these were broken. Some of these were coming out busted. So he had sent, well, I shouldn't say sent. He gave me some extra bases just in case. So, do want to point out, if for some reason you were to pick this up and you had a broken base, just contact Gamelyn Games and Michael will take care of you. I promise you that. So, okay, let's move this out of the way. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's take a look at this rule book a little bit in more depth. There we go. You know, move this stuff as well. There's a lot of stuff in this box, I can tell you that right now. Okay, so I'll tell you what, let me zoom back out a little bit, because I'm kind of blocking that off with my noggin here. There we go, that's better. Let me grab a quick sip here. Much better. Yeah, I apologize. My voice is still really scratchy and crappy, and you can tell my sinuses are kind of blown out still. And it's been over a week since I got back from San Diego Comic-Con. You'd think this would just go away, but it hasn't. All right, so if you're not overly familiar with Gamelyn Games, you should, because they're the home of the tiny epic lineup of games which I do believe Tiny Epic Mechs is coming out at Gen Con. So we get a game overview, little component overview here, talking about the map, the board, talking about game setup, capital cities. So we've got towers, levels of the capital city. We've got different buildings, units, and vessels. Talking about 1 to 2 player games, 3 to 4 player games, 5 to 6 player games. And to have a 5 to 6 player game, of course, you do need one of the large scale expansions for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. So, the game objectives: explore. All land exploration tokens of the game have been revealed. Expand. All of the player's serfs and warriors are in play. Exploit. All 3 of the player's towers are in play. Exterminate. A player has destroyed another player's capital city. So those are the 4X victory conditions. So, talking about action selection, command actions, battling, totaling each army's strength. Get tactic cards to play as well, sacrificing units in battle. Okay. Here's collecting. I'm taking a guess it's collecting resources is going to be my guess. And then ending the round, ending the game. So it says it's triggered by any of the 4X objectives. And it looks like those are it. That's how you finish the game. That's what's going to trigger the end game is going to be once one of those X objectives have been achieved by one of the players. We got some final scoring as well. Read winning faction lore. After determining a winner, the winning player reads their faction's victory lore aloud. That's kind of funny. So we got a solo play variant. Okay, so actually the regular core rules are all of 13 pages long with loads of illustrations. So not too difficult, probably, to wrap your head around. Sweet. Okay, so then we've got some solo play variant info. Looks like a couple pages there. 4 pages, basically. Kind of giving you an idea on solitaire play. Then we got team play. Here's our faction lore that you're supposed to read if you win. It's kind of like, yeah, but wait a second. It's like, it's a lot to read. Oh, there you go. Okay, you only read this little portion down here. I was gonna say, wait a second, that's a whole lot to be reading. So that is the rule book. Let's see what else we've got in the box here. We have the assembly guide. So it's showing us how to put together the capital cities, the towers, sea vessels, air vessels. Then we've got punch boards with different various, these are some of the components to build the towers and the capital cities and that. Same with that as well. Looks like we've got different colors for every faction. So there we go. We got these. All right, now we start getting into some tokens. It looks like we still have, maybe that's like I think that's an airship. So it looks like there's little props on there as well. So now we get a bunch of different kind of tokens. And they are dual-sided. Looks like these might be some resources up here again, because we've got, looks like we've got some gems. Looks like this is food. Got different areas. This is like a pirate ship. This looks like a 3-headed dragon. Something along those lines. A little island. So we've got those. Looks like we've got a player board for each of the players. So this is for the elves. This is for the dwarves. For the orcs. And for the humans. Nice. Okay. And it gives us a kind of a breakdown on a lot of the stuff too. The Cathedral, University, Tavern, Sea Dock, Air Spire. It's showing the different units down here as well. Paladins, mages, swashbucklers. galleons, airships. So the orcs get a dragon. The orcs, their air unit are dragons. Okay. Okay, alright. So we've got those. And they're dual-sided. So, and nice quality. Nice thick stock. Nice thick card stock on these. And then we got the board. And I know the board is huge because I've seen this board laid out. So, I will try to kind of show this off as best I can. But I know for a fact I am not going to have enough room. So, as I'm moving stuff around, because there's a lot of stuff in this box, because we're going to get to the minis in a sec. So this is kind of giving us the continents. So there are 4 continents on the board, and you will utilize a certain number of continents based on the number of players. So as I saw, it was saying that I believe it's a 1 to 2 player game. You're only using 2 continents. So we'll open this up. And it is, the board is also dual-sided. It's kind of, let's turn it around this way. So we have what appears to be a victory point track running around the side of the game board itself. And we've got the different continents here that look fairly similar, relatively similar. So it appears like it's showing that your capital city is going to go there. These are areas that you can try to take a guess that try to gain resources from these because they have a little pick and shovel indicated there. But as I mentioned, the board's dual-sided, and they look pretty much identical. So I don't know. I don't know which side you're probably supposed to use here. So, we'll fold this back up. So that is the game board. So let's take a look at some of the miniatures, and I will actually zoom in. And there are some that are already pre-painted here. So that's pretty sweet. Oh, look, it's taped. But I'll have to use my hobby knife real quick. It's only taped on the top bottom here. It looks like we've got some decks of cards as well. Got some tokens. So, let's see what we have here. So we got a small kind of Euro-sized deck of cards. Got another kind of standard-sized deck. We've got some tokens here, and then we got the minis. So let's kind of zoom in for a look here. For a look-see. So first off, let's take a look at some of these tokens. Plus, I thought it was kind of funny. We see there's like Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. So there's like a little logo token on it too. I thought that's kind of funny. So we see that we've got some shields. And this is looks like this is probably each faction's victory point marker to go around the edge of the board. And flip it over. If you go over 50, you're going to flip that over, so you got the plus 50. You've got some little, kind of make out what that is. I'm not sure. Is it supposed to be like a fire or something? Or like some sort of like maybe a like gem deposit or something like that? Could be. Yeah, it must be, because this looks like this is another sort of kind of gem. I think this is the food that we saw. It looked like the bread. So I guess this is how you're going to mark the different resources with these. So that's cool. Then let's take a look at the cards, since we're already zoomed in enough to see these. Come on. So I know we got some tactic cards. I wonder if these are like your action cards. Like you play these to say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Like almost like programming your actions ahead of time. So looks like these are all similar backings is what my guess is. Yep. So what do we got here? We've got recall. So this is like a spell. Teleport, that's another spell. Summon. Take one surf from your supply and place it in any region. Grow. Scavenge. So these are all spells here. Courage. Replace one of your warriors with a hero from the supply. Rift. Petrify. Earthquake. So it looks like these are... Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah. I think these are still spells here, like a combat spell. Possession. Wish. Weaken. Shield. Magic arrow. So yeah, these are all spells. These are all different kinds of spells. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so we've got that. Then we've got the larger kind of standard size deck of cards. Let's see what we got here. Now I know that we had like some tactic cards for combat, so I wonder if they're going to be in here. So it's kind of showing the difference. It's like different units that are available to each faction, maybe. So we've got the commander, the assassin, and the sorceress. Those are like for the elves. Then we got marauder, priestess, cannoneer. These are the dwarves. Berserker, shaman, and chieftain. Let's zoom out a little bit. For the orcs, and then the humans have the swashbuckler, a mage, the paladin. There we go. Now we've got some tactic cards. Okay, so these are all the tactic cards here. And then enemy action. So this is for the solitaire variant, no doubt. These few cards here. Build, tax, attack, research, recruit. So that's, I guess this kind of controls the enemy AI if you're playing solitaire. So then we've got the tactics here. So we've got like retreat, fight, first strike, conscripts, charge, barricade, siege, retreat. So got a few of these repeating themselves. Looks like we've got 3 copies of each so far, 4 copies of each so far. And that makes up this deck. So we actually have unit cards as well as the tactic cards and the enemy action AI cards. Let's take a look at these minis. And I will zoom back in again so we can get a better look at these sculpts. So my understanding, and once again, I could be, wow, that's too far, Jeff. I could be completely wrong, but my understanding is the painted are heroes. I think these are your heroes. And then unpainted is just your standard troops, right? So that pre-paint's not bad. It's not a bad job on these pre-paints. I've seen worse. I have seen a lot worse. But then again, if you paint miniatures, you're probably going to repaint all these anyway. So there we go. That must be the... he's the mage. That's the paladin. That's the swashbuckler, I think it was. So then we've got the troops. So these are knights. Then we've got the serfs, obviously enough, because they have the pitchforks. Then we've got the orc heroes. those are cool sculpts, I have to say. Then we've got the Orc Warriors here. And then these are the Orc Serfs. Because they're sitting here, they all have shovels. So we've got that. And then we have the Elves. So here are the elf heroes right here. All right, come on. There we go. Got it in the shot. So there's a lot of stuff in this box. So I've got things like kind of all over the place on the table by me. So here are the heroes for the elves. Okay, so these are the elf warriors. And then we've got the elf serfs. And I will point out, this is not a soft plastic like you see with a lot of plastic miniatures that are really soft and you really can't paint them even if you prime them because they're so soft that paint's going to just flake off. Not the case here. Not the case here at all. These are solid plastic. All right, and then we've got the dwarf heroes. So we've got the dwarf heroes here and dwarf warriors. And then the dwarf serfs, who actually look fairly tough. These guys look like tough guys here. The dwarf and orc serfs look like they would be like fighters. Whereas the human serfs are just sitting there with their pitchforks and that. Okay, so let's put everything back together here. So we've got these minis. We've also got the other factions. So we've got the humans, the orcs, the dwarves, and the elves. We've got the different wooden tokens here. We've got the deck of cards here that are spells. We also have the various different hero units as well as the tactics deck and the AI if you're going to play this solitaire. So that's all what we've got right there. We got the big map, the cool looking map. We've got quite a few punch boards with different tokens as well as special units and buildings that we have to put together. Each of the factions do have their own player boards as well. Put those on in there. We've got the little kind of player aid. We've got the instructions on how to assemble the capital cities, the towers, the airships, as well as the sea vessels. And then we also have the rule book. So it says scan to watch an instructional video. Cool deal. So if you don't want to read rules, maybe you can just watch the video and learn how to play. So that is what we find when we take everything from Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea outside the box. And of course, I will have a review of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea in the very near future. I am probably going to unbox the expansion that I've got for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea before I do my review because Michael Coe had asked me to check out the other factions. Because, yeah, you know, orcs, humans, dwarves, elves is pretty standard stuff. So the expansion has a little more gonzo style factions, I do believe. So there you have it. All right, as I mentioned, on tomorrow's show, I will be back and I will be reviewing Aeon's End from Indie Boards and Cards. It is a cooperative deck builder, and it's a bit different because it's almost like deck crafting as opposed to deck building, and I will actually explain why as well. So that's it for tonight's show. If you follow the show, you know I like to tell you when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So, I'll be back tomorrow. Then I will be quiet for the rest of the week, unless you follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting probably quite a bit. But anyway, for those of you who were watching live and joined me in chat, thank you very much for keeping me company. If you watched live but didn't jump into chat, how come? We don't bite. Go and join in on the fun. And of course, I love everybody out there as well who happens to watch after the fact. I love each and every one of you equally. So there you have it. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Be sure to subscribe. Don't forget that Pathfinder contest, the Pathfinder Adventure Game Contest. Time is running out. 42 subscribers away. Only got till August 5th. All right, as I mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow night. So until then, everybody take care.
Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.